All right, guys. This is going to be our second show. What we're going to do today is we're going to kind of talk about, we're going to make our picks for the second round. I'm going to pick directly from our power rankings. We made adjustments off of those first round performances. So I'm just going to make it easy for you guys, if you're more of a numbers guy, I'm going to pick them just kind of straight from what our numbers are saying. And then Riley and Jordan, they're going to pick who they think are going to win. Same thing as last time. If 2 out of 3 wins it, if 2 of us pick a team and one of us picks the other, the one that picked 2 goes on. So we'll get it going. And Riley, Jordan, you want to say hey to everybody?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you enjoyed the first round and watching all the basketball you could. I know I did, and we had a blast.
What's up, guys? Hope you enjoyed the first round as well. I don't know how many of you guys kept the perfect bracket. There's only 9 remaining in the ESPN out of 17 million, so hopefully you're one of them.
Yes. So if you're one of those 9, then that's an awesome job. Let's see if we can help you keep it going. But I guess your pick's already locked in, so I hope you have a lot of the same guys we come up with, so we can both do good. That first matchup is going to be the 1 seed Duke versus the 9 seed UCF. In our power rankings of the 32 left, Duke is still the number 1 overall team, and UCF is the 29th overall team. So I'm going to go with the number 1 team, Duke. Moving on.
I'm going Duke as well. Zion and RJ Barrett, 2 of the best players, and I think they're going to take it home.
Duke, they're too much.
Yes, but UCF, they did play good last night, and they looked good. So you never know. They might still be too low on our power rankings. We'll find out in this next when they match up on. I guess they're going to be playing on Sunday. So the next one is going to be the 12 seed Liberty and the 4 seed Virginia Tech. Liberty, they came out and beat Mississippi State last night. That was awesome. Holmesley he was nailing threes. We luckily had him in that late slate DFS last night, so that was cool. They're still the 31st overall power ranked seed for us, and Virginia Tech is the number 11. So I'm going to go with Virginia Tech.
I'm also going Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, they're too much.
All right, we got Virginia Tech moving on. The next one will be the 6 seed Maryland versus the 3 seed LSU. This is a super close matchup for us in our numbers. Maryland's our 20th overall ranked. LSU's the 18th. So with them being that close, I'm going to go with the 6 seed Maryland. Riley, who you got?
I'm going 3 seed LSU.
3 seed LSU.
All right, so we're going to pick LSU moving on as a team. And then the next matchup is going to be the 10 seed Minnesota versus the 2 seed Michigan State. Minnesota's our 23rd power ranked team. Michigan State's the 5, and that's dropping them 1 spot. So they had a tough game against Bradley. And Bradley they did play good. You got to give them credit, but it does raise a little bit of a question for Michigan State. But I'm still going with the 2 seed Michigan State. Moving on.
I'm going with Cassius Winston and the Spartans.
Yeah, 2 Big Ten teams, but they know each other very well. But I'm going with Michigan State.
All right, that brings us to the West region. The first matchup will be the 1 seed Gonzaga versus the 9 seed Baylor. Gonzaga is our 2nd power ranked team. They crushed Farley Dickinson. Really, really looked good. Baylor's the 24th overall seed. Came out, beat Syracuse. Syracuse did miss one of their key players, but still a great job by Baylor. I'm going to pick the 1 seed Gonzaga. Moving on.
Gonzaga's just too deep to get beat this early, and I think Hachimura and the Zags are going to move on.
Zags.
And I do want to mention here, I know on our last show, we actually picked Syracuse in the show, but I did put on Twitter that morning when we saw that he was suspended that we were going to change our pick to Baylor. So I just wanted to mention our Twitter feed on here. That is at rank, RANK, F Sports. Rank F Sports. So Rank Fantasy Sports, but just the F from fantasy. So follow us on there. We put a lot of different stuff on there. Had a really good night. DraftKings Tennis has just recently became a thing, I think, since Wimbledon of last year. We do player projections, value rankings every day on Twitter. So follow us on there. We had a huge night last night, and honestly, the tennis is what's going to get us through Monday through Wednesday of next week since we won't have any college basketball. So I just wanted to mention that, and we'll stay on the basketball. The next matchup's the 12 seed Murray State. John Moran, how awesome was that? I mean, the whole team, really, they just crushed Marquette versus the 4 seed Florida State. Murray State moved up to our 28th power ranked team. I know that's still pretty low, and it might be too low, but you know, there's a lot of good teams still left. The 4 seed Florida State, they're the 17th overall power ranking team. They dropped quite a bit just kind of from their game against Vermont. You know, that was a close game. Vermont kept it close till the very end, but I'm still going to go with the 4 seed Florida State.
I will be rooting for John Morant and Murray State, but I'm going to have to pick FSU on this one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think John Morant, Shaq Buchanan, Tevin Brown, I think they're all great, but I think Florida State's going to move on.
All right. I think we all picked Florida State, but I think that we're probably all rooting for Murray State. You know, and that's probably not fair to Florida State. It's not anything against them. It's just that was fun to watch Murray State the other day. The next matchup will be a really good game. This is a 6 seed Buffalo versus a 3 seed Texas Tech. We probably were too low, or at least me, I was probably too low on Buffalo going in to that first round. They came out and looked great against Arizona State. Tech took care of business. Buffalo's our 27th power ranked team versus Texas Tech, our 9th. So I'm going to have Texas Tech moving on.
Yeah, Buffalo lit it up on the offensive end, but they're matching up with one of the best defenses in the country. So I'm going to go defense and take my alma mater, Texas Tech.
When the bracket first came out, I foresaw this matchup, and Buffalo, I knew they were going to be tough, especially after seeing them in the first round. It made everything clear to me, but I still think Texas Tech's going to be too much.
All right, so we got Tech moving on. The next matchup will be the 10 seed Florida versus the 2 seed Michigan. Florida, I really thought Nevada had a good chance to win that game. I thought everybody was too low on them, but I guess I was just probably too low on Florida. Florida played really well. They're our 19th power ranked team versus the 2 seed Michigan, who's our 7th power ranked team. Michigan looked really good as well. I'm going to go with the 2 seed Michigan moving on.
I'm going to take the experience here and take the 2 seed Michigan.
Michigan, they're too good.
All right, Michigan's moving on. Now we're going to move over to the South region. We've got the 1 seed Virginia versus the 9 seed OU. Virginia's our 3rd power ranked team. They had a small scare in that first half. I was just sitting there thinking there is no way that they're going to get beat by a 16 seed 2 years in a row when it never happened before. But they came out in the second half and really took care of business. OU, they took it to Ole Miss. They looked really, really good. Doolittle is hot right now. They're our 16th power ranked team, so I'm going to go that they moved up quite a bit, but I'm going to go up with the 1 seed Virginia.
Give me the Cavaliers as well.
Virginia had a scare, but they're still going to be too much for OU. Virginia.
All right, and then we have a matchup where it's the 2 lower seeds playing each other, the 12 seed Oregon versus the 13 seed UC Irvine. Congratulations to both of them taking care of what was an upset. I personally thought that Wisconsin was going to really handle Oregon. I didn't understand why so many people were picking Oregon, but I found out yesterday Oregon was, God, they are hot. They've won their last 9 games. They had all kinds of people making shots. Really played hard, too. They're fun to watch. So 12 seed Oregon versus the 13 seed UC Irvine. Oregon's our 25th power ranked team. UC Irvine is our 32nd. So I'm going to go with the 12 seed Oregon.
I had neither of these teams in this game, but I'm going to go with the 12 seed Oregon.
Yeah, I agree. I think Oregon's going to be a little bit too much for UC Irvine. I don't think UC Irvine's going to shoot it quite as well as they did against Kansas State, and I got the Ducks moving on.
All right. The next game is the 6 seed Villanova versus the 3 seed Purdue. This should be a really fun one to watch. Villanova's our 21st overall seed. Purdue is our 10th. So Purdue did drop a little bit just because of the way the Old Dominion kept it close against them. But I'm still going to stick with the 3 seed Purdue.
Villanova is going to be going home a little bit early this year, not what they're used to. Give me Purdue.
Yeah, I'm going with Purdue. I think Carson Edwards is going to shoot a little bit better this second game of the tournament, and I think they're going to move on.
All right, and then we got the 10 seed Iowa versus the 2 seed Tennessee. Iowa got down big early, kind of essentially in a road game, and really showed a lot to come back and win that game. They're our 26th overall seed. Tennessee is our 8th overall seed. Tennessee, they had a little bit of a scare too. Colgate, their best player, ended up having to miss most of the second half just because like a vision issue. They couldn't figure it out. He couldn't see. They tried different things. So that really is not cool for him, and I feel bad for him. But Tennessee, they are an awesome team, and they played really well down the stretch. So I'm still going to stick with the 2 seed Tennessee winning.
I think Rick Barnes is going to have these guys ready to go, and Tennessee's going to take it.
Yeah, I agree. Tennessee.
All right, and then we got the 1 seed North Carolina versus the 9 seed Washington. Another 1 seed that was played pretty close there for a little bit, but came through in the end. They're our 4th overall seed or power ranked team. Washington is our 30th power ranked team. You know, we did pick Washington to win that game last round, and I think a lot of people had Utah State. But Washington, I mean, they really looked good between them and Oregon. I know Arizona State got crushed, but you know they're trying to put the Pac-12 higher in people's opinions again. A lot of people are down on them, but I'm going with the 1 seed North Carolina.
The pace that North Carolina plays with is incredible. I mean, every game you watch of them, you're seeing them run back and forth down the court constantly. So I don't think Washington's going to be able to hang in with North Carolina. Give me North Carolina.
Yeah, I agree with Riley. I think the pace they play is just with too much speed. I think Iona was in it for a little bit, and then they just fell apart. They just couldn't keep up, and I agree. I think North Carolina is just going to be too much.
All right, and then this next one I cannot wait for. It's the 5 seed Auburn versus the 4 seed Kansas. Auburn, we thought they were going to cruise a little bit in that first round, but man, that was an awesome game. It came down to the final seconds. So they dropped a little bit in our power rankings. Kansas rose a little bit in our power rankings to number 13. And Auburn's 12 now. Kansas is 13. But Kansas rose a little bit because of the way that they handled Northeastern. You know, we mentioned on the show last time that a lot of people were down on Kansas, but they're still Kansas. And I do still feel that way. And I think both these teams are great teams. It's kind of unfortunate that they're having to play in the second round whenever there are 12 and 13 power ranked teams. That'd be more of a, you know, hope both of them would, in our hopes, be in the Sweet 16. But this will be an awesome game to watch. It'll be fun. I'm going to pick Auburn. I'm going to stay with it. I had them going through, and with them this close, I'm going to stay with my pick. So 5 seed Auburn moving on for me.
This is the only 5 seed versus 4 seed we get to watch this week. I mean, in the whole tournament. But I'm going with the upset here. I'm going Auburn.
I wish I could go with Auburn, but I think Kansas and their experience. I think Coach Self. I agree. I think Kansas should move on.
Yeah, there's no doubt this game can go either way. It's going to be an awesome game. 2 of us picked Auburn, so we're going to have Auburn moving on. The next game, the 11 seed Ohio State versus the 3 seed Houston. That Ohio State-Iowa State game was awesome to watch last night. You know, really, it probably still could have gone Iowa State's way until, you know, Mayock, 88% free throw shooter, missed the front end of that one-on-one. And I mean, Caleb Wesson, that's a weapon to have right there because he's a big man and he can make free throws, and he's just a really good player. And they're playing against Houston, who really rose up our power rankings with the way that they handled Georgia State. They came out and made a statement. I think a lot of people had Iowa State beating Houston in that next round. So now we've got Ohio State versus Houston. Ohio State's our 22nd power ranked team. Houston's now our 15th. So even though I had a couple brackets where I had Ohio State winning this game and none where I had Houston, I either had Iowa State or Ohio State. But in this today, with the way the numbers have changed, I'm going to go with the 3 seed Houston.
I was a guy that had Iowa State going to the Sweet 16 in all my brackets, but Ohio State really tore that up. I'm going to go with the 3 seed Houston here. I think they're going to be too much for Ohio State to handle.
Yeah, I had Iowa State in this game, and I had them beating Houston as well. But I think Houston's a great team. I think their record just doesn't say that they play in a bad conference. I really do think they're a good basketball team. I think they're going to come out, and they're just going to still be too much for Ohio State.
All right, so we have Houston moving on. The final game is going to be the 7 seed Wofford versus the 2 seed Kentucky. And, man, how awesome was it to watch Wofford play on Thursday night. Fletcher McGee, I mean, that is fun to watch. When a guy can knock down shots like that, that's fun to watch. You know, you hope that they come out and play well again today against Kentucky. Wofford, they were high in our power rankings to start this thing, and they moved up even more. They're now the 14th overall seed. Kentucky is the 6th overall seed. I think even if P.J. Washington doesn't play, I'm going to have to stick with Kentucky.
I'm going Kentucky as well, although it was incredible to watch Wofford and all those threes they were draining, but give me the Wildcats.
Yeah, Kentucky's just going to be too much. I'm sorry, Fletcher, but they're too good.
All right. So that will conclude the picks and power rankings portion of the show. The next thing we're going to talk about is kind of the guys we like for DFS over the weekend. It's a blast to not only be watching March Madness, but also have players in there. Like, yesterday we had Jared Culver, and watching that whole game and him playing really, really well, that was a lot of fun. So if you haven't tried it yet, I mean, just get in there and try it. Play a free contest, play a $1 contest, 25-cent contest. Just play something. It really does make it fun. So the first games we're going to talk about are going to be the games that are going to happen today, because we've already got in there and looked at salaries and everything like that. So the first one is going to be Maryland versus LSU. And in that game, we have LSU projected for 155 DK points, Maryland for 153. We think this is going to be a really good, close game. It's probably a good idea to play some people in this game because it's going to be a close game if you're like the starters and things like that. So, Riley, who do you like on LSU?
I like Tremont Waters. He's going to be the guy that averages the most amount of DK points per game for them. So, give me Tremont Waters.
And then, Jordan, who do you like on Maryland?
Bruno Fernando. He's a stud down low. He boards up, and I think he's going to have another big game.
All right. The next one is going to be Wofford versus Kentucky. Wofford, we have projected for 137 DraftKings points, Kentucky for 162. Riley, who do you like on Kentucky?
I like Tyler Hero. I've liked him ever since he came back from injury, and he's a great player. He can knock down the threes. PJ Washington, I did see Calipari said that it'd be incredible if he did play, but he doesn't think he will. So give me Tyler Hero.
All right, and then Jordan, who do you like on Wofford?
The obvious is Fletcher McGee. Obviously, if he shoots a three like that, I mean, anybody would want him on any given night. But I think if somebody to look out for that's playing more minutes right now is Nathan Hoover, and he's a stud. So look out for him, see what his salary is, and he's a stud.
All right, and then on Kentucky, if P.J. Washington doesn't play, E.J. Montgomery's a good play. He got some good minutes in with P.J. Washington out last game, so look out for E.J. Montgomery if P.J. Washington is, in fact, out. And then the next matchup is going to be Florida and Michigan. We have Florida projected for 138 DraftKings points, Michigan for 145. Riley, who do you like on Florida?
Give me Andrew Nembhard.
All right, and then Jordan, who do you like on Michigan?
Xavier Simpson, he's a stud, and also look out for John Tesk. He's playing more minutes right now compared to his average on the season. So depending on his salary, I mean, if he's cheap or if he's affordable for I didn't even look at the salaries yet, but if his salary is in the right price, I would go with him because he's playing a lot of minutes right now.
All right, and then also for Florida, Johnson and Hudson, they are both very affordable on DraftKings today. They've been playing a lot of minutes lately. They didn't play a ton of minutes overall in the season, but and their DraftKings pricing is kind of reflecting that. So Johnson and Hudson, both for Florida, are also good, inexpensive plays. So look out for them. And then the next game is going to be Murray State and Florida State. We have Murray State projected for 141 DraftKings points, Florida State for 167. Riley, who do you like on Murray State?
Obviously, I like John Morant, but I'll talk about somebody else here. Cowart's been getting a lot more minutes lately, and he's going to be able to save yourself a lot of money. He's only 5,500, so I would go with John Morant and Cowart.
All right, Jordan, who do you like on Florida State?
I like Terrence Mann again. I said that in the last show, and we played him, and he had a great game. He went off. But somebody else to look out for is Trent Forrest. I mean, he had a great game as well. So both of those guys, look for them whenever you're looking in the slate today.
Awesome. And then the next one we're going to have is going to be Baylor versus Gonzaga. We have Baylor projected for 152 DraftKings points, Gonzaga for 159. I'm also going to mention right here, too, if you go to our Twitter page, again, it's @RankFSports. If you go there, There was a tweet we did yesterday afternoon that has a list of rankings list of all these teams and how many projected points we have for them in this round. So you can see that full list ranking sheet listed out there on our Twitter page. So go check it out. Riley, who do you like on Baylor?
I like Mekhi Mason. He's a guy that plays 80% of their minutes, and I feel like if Baylor's going to have any shot at all, he's going to need to take over this game and get all his guys involved. He can assist, he can score. Give me Mekhi Mason.
All right, and then Jordan, who do you like on Gonzaga? Gonzaga.
The obvious choice is Hachimura and Brandon Clark. Those are obviously two obvious choices, but Kispert, he is an under $5,000 salary guy, and we played him on, I believe, Thursday we played him, and he went off. So that's somebody to look out for that's under 5,000.
Yeah, and with Kispert and Crandall, I mean they're really good picks right here. If you think that this Gonzaga Baylor game is not going to be a super close game, because they're the guys that kind of take over for that second unit, and so if that second unit's getting a little bit more run time, then look for those guys. And then this next game is going to be Minnesota and Michigan State. We have Minnesota projected for 150 DraftKings points, Michigan State 161. Riley, who do you like on Minnesota?
Jordan Murphy, he is questionable, but he's the leader of this team. I would go Jordan Murphy.
And then Jordan, who do you like on Michigan State?
I think in this Big Ten matchup again, I think Cassius Winston's going to have a great game, and I think he's going to, for them to move on to the Sweet 16. So he's a guy that I would really be looking out for.
And then look out for Otero for Minnesota. He's a guy that his DraftKings price isn't really reflecting the type of minutes he's getting lately. So that's a guy that we've got in our lineups today. Otero, forward for Minnesota. And then the next game is going to be Villanova and Purdue. We have Villanova projected for 143 DraftKings points, Purdue for 158.5. So, Riley, who do you like on Villanova?
Phil Booth and Eric Paschal, they're essentially the same price. They pretty much play the whole game, and without those two, one of those two guys is going to be their offense. So I don't think you could go wrong with either one of them.
Yeah, and they're their two veterans. So, those are the guys that they lean on down the stretch. If it's a close game, Phil Booth and Paschal are going to be taking the shots. So, that's really their two guys back from that team last year. So, I like those two picks. Jordan, who do you like on Purdue?
Like I said in the last show, I love Carson Edwards, and I think if they want to move on in Sweet 16, he's going to have to shoot better than 34%, and I think he's going to. He's a high salary guy, but I think he's going to be worth the money in this game.
Yes, and then Matt Harms, he's a guy that has, again, his pricing isn't really reflected for the minutes he's been playing lately. That's a good, little bit less expensive look as well. So, final game, Auburn and Kansas. This is the one that I'm really, really excited about. We have Auburn projected for 153 DraftKings points, Kansas for 161.5. Riley, who do you like on Auburn?
I like Jared Harper. He's not overpriced. He's only $7,800, but he is another one of those guys that if you want a leader on a team, that's a guy to go with.
All right, and then Jordan, who do you like on Kansas?
Obviously, I like Dedrick Lawson. We played him, and he had a great game. But somebody else to look out for that we also played is Devin Dotson. He plays a lot of minutes. He's always around the ball, always has the ball. So if you're looking at somebody that's in that 6K range, Devin Dotson is somebody that you should definitely look out.
Yeah, he's, as Dick Vitale would say, a diaper dandy. He's awesome. I think his pricing is still like it was whenever Kansas had more of a full roster. He's gone up a little bit in pricing, but I don't think it's near reflected for what he does now. And especially if you think this is going to be a good game, he should get really good minutes. He'll have the ball in his hands a lot, like Jordan said. That's a good look as well. And I really do think that Dedrick Lawson could have a massive game tonight as well. So that's one that I'm really excited about. Get some guys in there. We made a lineup with John Morant. We made one with Dotson. Those were kind of our two studs that we're building lineups around today. And that's really all that we have for today. Jordan, Riley, y'all got anything you want to say in closing?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. I will be releasing some golf picks as well. We're doing golf, tennis, and college basketball mainly right now. So, give us a follow, check out our YouTube channel, and subscribe to it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, like he said, give us a follow on Twitter. We're sending out a ton of stuff as far as for DFS. I mean, we love sports. We love to track it, and there's nothing better than fantasy sports. So, especially during this time of the year with March Madness and the NBA playoffs coming up, just give us a follow, and we look forward to it.
Yes, and really check out DraftKings Tennis, because I really do think after this Thursday through Sunday we've started going through and are going to finish going through this weekend, I think you're going to have a little bit of a sports itch on Monday. And the Miami Open's going on right now in tennis. It's both guys and girls. It's a premier event. You know, it's one of those events that is kind of like the Players' Championship in golf. It's like the event right below a major. So all the good people are in it. They're playing. It'll be the kind of the round of 32 and round of 16 over the next few days. So good time to watch it. Get in there, get some lineups in this weekend and on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Again, it's at Rank F Sports. Full value projections on there for the tennis slate. If you don't know a ton about it, you know, follow those, put yourself a lineup together. Enjoy watching college basketball this weekend. This is the best weekend probably, if I would say arguably, of any weekend in sports. I mean, other than maybe NFL playoffs, but it's hard to beat watching all these college kids, all these games. There's so many games this weekend. So tune in, enjoy it, get yourself a DraftKings basketball lineup in today. Have fun with that. Hope all your picks go right. Everybody have an awesome day, an awesome weekend. Thank you guys.
Thank y'all.
See y'all.